This makes driver 1000% easier, and what it is the right shoulder dropping down to the ground in the mid downswing. So why does this make driver so much easier? Two reasons. Number one is getting the low point behind the golf ball to hit naturally up on it for longer drives. So if I'm getting this right shoulder in the mid downswing, so mid downswing is really left arm parallel and down, having that right shoulder drop down towards the ground, so really to where the right shoulder and right hip are getting closer to each other. So then at the ground, we're really quite lower down there. That's going to help that lowest point of the swing arc get behind the ball, so you'll naturally start hitting up because you're hitting the ball on the later portion of the swing arc, naturally hitting up. We don't need to do this a crazy amount, even just a little bit. If that's all you're capable of doing, will make huge gains for you to be able to hit more up on the golf ball. So from mid downswing is when we want that right shoulder dropping. So this is where with irons, might not be the best advice because we want the low point to be after the golf ball with irons, to where with the right shoulder with irons, there's plenty of videos on my channel about this, is I want that right shoulder dropping down going through impact. That won't have any moving back nature effect of that low point. That'll keep the low point forward, but keep everything else moving nicely from there. So right shoulder down, mid downswing, left arm parallel, get that right shoulder dropping down. That's really gonna help you hit more on the up by moving the low point more back. So second reason, it helps you turn through the golf ball easier. So with driver, we see so often people have a really stally move through impact, not much rotation all arms. So when you're getting that right shoulder dropping down in that mid downswing, it gradually start that dropping movement. You can see, what is it doing to me? It is turning my body also. When that right shoulder drops down, the left side starts to have a little bit more extension, and that pulls you around the hitting area. Really, really important, because this is going to massively help for club face stability. The better we turn through that golf ball, the more club face stability we're going to have. So you're going to be not missing driver one way or the other all too often. So it's going to help in that fashion. So you can imagine hitting more up on it, and a move that gets that right shoulder going more down helps a little bit more rotation. That's going to be definitely some more club head speed going in there also. So guys, a brand new course is now live on my Skillist, and that is Fixing Your Early Extension Masterclass. And in this course, absolutely everything you need to know about how to fix early extension, and everything you need to know about early extension and what causes it. So we get into the root causes, everything that causes that problem, and in depth. And then we get into exactly what to do to fix each one of those root causes with the optimized practice structure. And with all my students, you see, let's say from my YouTube videos here, where I'll do videos on how they fix their early extension, those crazy big gains they make in a very short space of time. It's the same practice structure I've used with every single one of those students that have achieved massive success in fixing this problem fast. Early extension is only a big issue in the golf swing if you don't know how to tackle it. When you know how to tackle it, it is very straightforward, and I give you all the tools to be able to fix it in no time in this course. So there's a link in the description that takes you straight to my Skillist page, so the website of Skillist, and if you scroll down you'll see online courses. It will be right there. Brand new course, absolutely brilliant. There's tons of info in there. It's absolutely going to be the most comprehensive guide to fix your early extension that you've ever seen online. So before we get into a really good feel and drill to do to be able to get this into your golf swing, we have to talk about what not to do with this move, as this is such a common area that golfers get really, really wrong, is the right shoulder and the downswing, especially for driver. So what you can't do here is drop that right shoulder down immediately starting the downswing, because absolutely, what will that do? That will move the low point behind the golf ball nice, and you will hit nicely on the up, but you will completely, stall out your body's rotation. If I drop that right shoulder down too early, then there is no way I can continue my turn going through the golf ball. It will be impossible. So what most golfers will have happen to them, they will have, what they'll see is a nice shallowing move. They will be doing this quite often to shallow the golf club, but shallowing the golf club is only beneficial if you rotate. But you're going to see that club path is going to get excessively on the inside the earlier I drop down that right shoulder. So that's where conversely, if players don't do this enough, they keep their right shoulder too high, they're just going to keep that club too much outside them, and they're going to have the opposite problem of having it a little bit too swipey across it. So we really do not want to have that right shoulder dropping down too early. It's not from the start of the downswing, it's from mid downswing. So let's talk about some feels to get that, and more importantly, the best drill to do for it. So let's talk about the feels before we get into the drills here. So, okay, the feels, they're both pretty much the same thing, but one is one that I like and one is an adaptation that a top tour player has that I think you'll all like also. That does the exact same thing. Now, the feel I like is what was told to me by my old coach. And he said, really feel like that right shoulder is dropping just behind that golf ball. So you're hitting the ground with that right shoulder just behind that ball. So that feeling really got that right side bend, that right shoulder dropping down, but we weren't trying to drop it down too much because then, of course, your right shoulder will be outside your body. And feeling like that right shoulder is dropping down just behind there is a really good one to get it dropping down at mid downswing to be able to achieve that. Because if it's too early, you're dropping too far behind. Too late, you're dropping too forward, kind of like you would do with an iron. So here we go, just behind the golf ball, I'm dropping it down. Great one to do to be able to get that feeling. Now, here's a one that top tour player Justin Rose does with his swing. So with Justin Rose, he has a very similar feel. What he will be doing, he will have one, he wants his right shoulder to nicely drop down through the golf ball, but he thinks of his ear instead of his right shoulder. Because what he will think he wants his ear to be down towards the ground. So his ear pointing down towards the ground as he's getting close to that impact area. So what that does for him, that gets that right shoulder down, but it also gives him the feeling of this kind of like little head swivel, which is a very popular move on tour over the last good handful of years because it gets you turning through the golf ball. So again, it kind of targets that myth of you've got to keep your eye on the golf ball. No, you don't. Don't need to keep the eye on the golf ball. If those head swivels, just like let's say Dustin Johnson, for example, you actually get yourself opening up, and that's exactly what Justin Rose actually says in that clip. I tried to find the clip, I couldn't find it, but absolutely, Justin Rose, ear down to that ground, gets him in that right side bend, gets him turning through. It's also a very good one to do because it gets the rotation really nicely in there also. So the drill for this is one of my favorite drills. So a drill that if you've watched a lot of my channel, you will know about absolutely, but it's great for driver and getting the right shoulder to drop down at the right time. That's the preset impact drill. So I've talked about it a lot when it comes to irons, but I don't believe I've talked about it all too much in regards to driver here. So with driver, if I get this mud off the club face, as you can see, it is incredibly muddy. Not the smartest choice of trousers really, is it, when it's really muddy like it is? So here we go. So with driver, of course, little few differences with a preset rotation drill. So what we do, get yourself into an impact position. So we want the pelvis as rotated as we can get it. And that's generally via pushing that left side back. Now, little difference here. Left leg completely extended. We want the right shoulder, or the chest, sorry, before the right shoulder. Chest is open as you can get it. So that'll be a little bit less than the amount of rotation you'll have of your hips. Right shoulder as far down as you can get it to the hips comfortably. So if we start that again, we've got really open hips, as open as you can get it. Chest as open as you can get it. A fully extended left leg, around 70% of your weight on that left side. And then right shoulder down as far as you can get it to the right hip, which then if we just swing back and spring through in a half downswing kind of movement, so we're only getting to left arm parallel back to start off with, that's going to isolate the movement and it's going to get that right shoulder down because we're already presetting it. So okay, here we go, get in a position, halfway back, halfway through. There we go. So if we look at that one slowed down, really good, absolutely ideal. Now, really good one just to train for driver in general to get the sequencing correct in the downswing. So really, really brilliant drill, not only just for irons like I always talk about, but for driver, brilliant as well. If ever I'm struggling with something with my driver, it's a great one that I'll go back to every now and again to make sure things are working in nice order. So that's a great drill to do. Rep that drill out and then repeat that with some golf balls, but do a lot of reps. So absolutely, if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction. Just like this, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.